with this guy named Sam. Hey y'all, y'all know I'm always singing. Welcome. Hey everybody. My name is Benita G. Let's slide back and get myself situated. Pushed the button a little too early. Here we go. Hey everybody, my name is Benita G. Welcome to Tips and Tools Tuesday and Thursday. It is great to be here in the house with y'all tonight. We are still celebrating the month of April, and we are celebrating transitioning teachers, and I'm going to bring my guests in. Hello, hey, let me get you in here. Shout out to everybody that's getting ready to make sure she can get in. There we go.
All right, what's up? What's up? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
How are you? We shout out, so let me say this real quick. Shout out to everybody that's preparing for standardized testing, including me. Um, Look, my kids having anxiety attacks already. I had to calm down. They had to do a woosah. We are praying. We are covering. My mom used to put a little part in the middle of my head, so whenever I had to test, the knowledge would ooze out. Look, we from the country, so whatever we was gonna do. Do you remember anything that you did or do that you thought would help you other than studying and preparing, pass a test?
Pray. Lots of prayer. Lots of prayer. Like the teacher, like I pray my kids do well and get these high scores as a student. Just like I hope I don't forget anything. But yeah, lots of prayer and notes.
No.
Mhm.
I remember at Hampton, I prayed one time for this test because I ain't study. Lord, I ain't study. I ain't study. It was a biology test. Here I am, a senior taking biology in lab. Okay, I forgot.
I'm with you.
And so I was like, Lord, let me remember the things I know, and the things I don't know, drop them down too.
Like just a heavenly osmosis. Like just let it
All
come
of
in.
it. Just cover everything. My mom was like, girl, no. I said, but I passed with a B.
There you go.
Because you got to get to just go tell your professor, just cry. I was like, I'm working full time. I can't be doing all of this.
You built a relationship, so that worked in your benefit.
So, hey, how are you? I brought you in, started asking you questions, but I did not introduce you to the family. So please introduce us. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do. So people that know why you're on here. Why are you a guest tonight?
All the things. So, hey, everybody, I am Camille Melton Brown. I am a lifelong educator. I started in TFA back in 2002, New York City, graduate of Rutgers University. I was not an education major. I was pre-med. And then, yeah, girl. And I was like, you know what? I'm not about this MCAT life, so is there something else for me to do? So my license had done Teach for America, so she told me about it. So I applied, was accepted, and so I started teaching in Harlem, New York, 2002. I loved living in New York City. I had so much fun that I needed to move. And we could talk about that another time. But I learned how to manage a classroom in New
Yes.
York from my first day teaching to my last. And then I moved to Virginia, where my
Yes.
husband was, because he was a Hampton grad as well.
Yes. HU,
We
baby.
got pirates down there. But yeah, so moved to Virginia, was teaching in Virginia, and then we got married and then decided we wanted a little bit of a change in terms of what autonomy could look like in education and how you could really meet the needs of your students and really tailor what you were doing academically and as a school. So he was like, yeah, I heard this school called Camp. I was like, oh my God, they're crazy there. Are you sure? He was like, yeah, let's do it. So we moved to Boston, was there for 6 years working at the Camp school out there. At the time, we were the only one in New England. And then, grew in the roles there. Uh, Got pregnant, so it was like, need to step outside the classroom. Can't do that main teacher life in the charter world. I couldn't with the child. That's a whole nother conversation. And then so he got an opportunity to move to Memphis to start a school here. So we moved to Memphis. And so worked here in the charter world for like about 9 years. Dean of students, then dean of academics, then principal, and then network cultural lead, and then stepped outside of the school building. Transitioned out the school building after the pandemic, and also started a baking business. So all the
So
things.
you
But
are
mhm,
perfect for us tonight. So let me tell you, let me do a background. Let me go back.
go back.
I'm at a conference, so I'll follow you. I think I actually bought some stuff. You were at a farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
Started following you. I was like, oh my God, because it was delicious. Started following you. I was like, oh, she's gonna be here, but I was like, busy, busy, busy. Leave, go to an event for schools in New York. Walk past your husband, and he and I look at each other, go, why do we know each other? Realized we were LinkedIn friends, but it was deeper than that. Because I was like, no, we've had a conversation on LinkedIn about education. Started going, where church you go to? Are you Greek? What school you go to? He said Hampton. I said, but wait a minute. I went to Hampton.
Right.
Started talking about who we knew and was like, oh, we were right behind each other
Oh, wow.
at
Uh-huh.
Hampton. So then we started talking. Of course, he's going to bring up his beautiful wife because we were talking about transitioning out of the classroom and looking at other roles. He said, yeah, my wife, she did this and she transitioned out of the classroom. She was here and now she's here. And I said, is your wife such and such and such? He said, oh, I don't know. And we took a picture and sent it to you.
I
Because I was like, oh no,
I was like,
take
how
a
did that
picture.
know her? He's like, you'll
I
never believe who I ran into.
was like, oh my God, I love her desserts. I
Oh,
love her. She's so fly and just elegant. And I was like, see, this is why you got to treat people
come on
nice.
now. Mm-hmm.
And everything comes full circle. And then when I was thinking about it, I said, oh no, I'm going to reach out to Miss Brown because she has done what people are asking about or looking for. I need to transition out. And I'm glad that you said, for me, I need to transition as an expecting mother and wife.
Girl.
Because we have listeners who are there and life changes, like transitioning out because you need to take care of your parents now.
Right, right.
And
It
so,
was,
how did you shift your mind, or what did you do? Because that's what we're here.
yeah.
We're talking about tips and tools for transitioning teachers. So, give us some tips and tools for that section. And then you went again
Mm-hmm.
and transitioned all the way out of education,
Yeah.
as we know it. You went into the culinary education. I'm gonna say that because we learning some stuff from you.
Absolutely. So I always enjoyed teaching. I love working directly with the kids and everything, but going into the charter environment, it's especially back then. Um, I don't want to say it was like the wild, wild west, but it was. And so working crazy hours, just like there before the sun comes up. You're doing every single role because it was a small charter school, so you have a small number of staff members doing everything.
Yes.
And we're doing like Saturday school. I'm, leading the clubs. I'm leading the dance club, teaching science, middle school science. An eighth grade teacher left. I'm teaching sixth grade science and eighth grade science. I'm running detention. I'm like doing all the different roles. And although I enjoyed it, I
Mm-hmm.
knew that once I got pregnant, it was going to have to change a
Yeah.
bit. And I waited until my principal got pregnant first because, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking ahead because it's hard when you are leading a school, right? And you have all these targets that you have to reach, with students, growth and performance and everything. And we were like a no excuses school,
Yes.
back then, like no excuses was everything for the students and for the staff. Like I never took days off. Nobody took days off. I didn't even know we had sick days. So it was like all in. And I knew that once she got pregnant and could experience like morning sickness or, having to leave to go to doctor's appointments, then there would be leniency for me. So she got pregnant, had her child. I soon followed. And it was a bit different, but I also knew I needed to step outside of the classroom because I couldn't guarantee the type of work that my students would need from me. And I didn't want to cheat them of that.
So I'm gonna stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to make sure you're listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a guilt. This is not a judgment. This is Miss Brown is looking at her life
Mm-hmm.
and saying, okay. And you named like all the 15 jobs you were doing at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And now this job, the new job I'm now taking on as mom.
Right.
I know that what I was doing and how I was shifting and moving at work,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do. And then if I am doing it, I'm not going to be able to do it at the capacity where I was doing it before.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need to shift and I need to transition into something else. I love that. Because a lot of times we forget to look.
It was necessary. Say that part again.
A lot of times we forget to look at like, what do I need? Like what is necessary for my life? Because we're in the service, we're service providers. So when you're a service provider, you're giving
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
And a quality service. We need to be providing a quality service and being realistic about what quality are we presenting. Can we get better at it, or maybe it's just not your ministry?
Oh wait.
It's not.
Did y'all hear that? Y'all heard that back there? Okay. The people back there heard, because it doesn't. It may not be your ministry, is what she said. Okay, go ahead.
It may not be. And the kids deserve people who are passionate about it and can do it well, or at least willing to learn how to do it well.
Yes.
So definitely, but thankfully they didn't want to lose me from the organization. So I shifted in our Kip through college office. So I got to work on that side of education. So that was really great. And then they were also like, yeah, can you teach dance? We're starting in high school. We need electives. So I taught like a section of dance and then also worked as a career counselor for our Kip through college office. So that was really great for me because I got to see what happens as we transition our students to high school and after, and just what are the types of developments that students need both academically and just as people, and what tribes do they need to be a part of when they go to college, and what are the services these colleges are providing, and what's the best fit for our kids, not just like what name sounds great to say we send our kids to, right?
I'm laughing because this is my niece. I have an older nephew. We've gone through this with him. My niece is going through this right now, and it's been a work in progress because we have where we want them to go, Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have to pull back and go, what's best for you?
Yeah.
And what do you want? But I also love your story because a lot of times people think when we say transitioning teachers, you think that we mean they're leaving that building.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes it's a lateral move, and sometimes it's like you did a whole department shift.
Mm-hmm.
So let me shift from this department service in classroom, and let me shift over here to making sure, okay, we've graduated them,
Mm-hmm.
but many times they are first generation. Yeah. We have to help them get through college and graduate from there too.
Right.
So it was another shift for you. So when we transition, I want everybody to understand it. Doesn't always mean that we're transitioning out of the school building or out of the district or the company. It just means we're transitioning into another department and doing another move to something else that open a door open, or we ask them to open a door. Look.
Right. And there's so many other roles within education that we're not always taught about, right? And so when you ask me about those specific tips, one of them that I came up with was just like networking. So when you know people, talk to people, get to know people, understand either the organization or the district that you're in, you can find out about the various roles and capacities. I'm not a tech person, but I have referred people to operations or tech department because you know what, you're really strong in this area. You're not so strong in the classroom with these kids, but you have a tremendous skill set over here. Let's see about finding a position for you there. And they are so much happier and they do great work. So it's okay.
It's courageous conversations. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And they received it. And then when you help them shift,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, oh my goodness, you're right. This is exactly,
Mm-hmm.
I need to be in education, but I'm going to serve in this capacity.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now the baby is here. We over here. We're teaching a dance class. I didn't forget that. I heard you.
Yeah.
Teaching a dance class. When did you decide, okay, I'm gonna transition out of this type of education
Hmm.
and go a completely different route.
That was my husband who was like, "Hey, you heard of Memphis? Would you want to go there?" I was like, "First 48 Memphis? Oh my God." But we actually got out here and I was like, "Oh my God, Memphis is beautiful."
Yes,
Um, it is. It's got its sections, but that's every city. Like I've lived in
every
so
city.
many different places. Everybody's got some craziness in different pockets. It's quite all
Okay,
right.
we went to Hampton, and what they tell us, don't go downtown. Where I end up working, downtown Newport News.
I used to be in Newport News. Yes. But
Oh,
all thing bad news, right? But it's a beautiful city. And when I first moved out here, I decided I was going to be stay-at-home mom because now I had another child.
okay,
Um, and I lasted about 3 months, and I realized that wasn't my ministry.
okay.
Like I'm a mom, but stay-at-home mom, that wasn't for me at that stage. It wasn't for me. And so I was like, I need to go back to work. Because I'm gonna hurt somebody.
These kids, I
Um,
love these kids, but they got to go somewhere else. Somebody come get them.
for a few hours each day. I need it. I need it. So they went into a home daycare, and then I started working. I was asked to be a dean of students at a local charter school. And so I was a little nervous because, like, coming from up north, we got a completely different style how we deal and talk to people and all the things. And this organization was a little bit different, but I took on the challenge and realized I had been doing some of the role anyway in my previous
Yes,
role. And so it helped to prepare me for this role, and it really grew me. It really grew me as a person, as an educator. Then I started leading professional development, things like that. So it helped me grow, and then I became a dean of academics, and then future then principal. So those were a lot of transitions. It
yes,
required a different level of skill, of empathy, of communication, of knowledge, of leadership to to excel. Still have my doubts of whether I excelled some days. Some days yes, other days I'm like, girl. But
that's life.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That's life. But I really enjoyed it. But once COVID hit, then I realized I don't know my kids. I
Mm,
stopped knowing them. When we were actually home and I'm looking at them and listening to them in their classes and just spending time with them, I'm like, oh, y'all don't know me either.
mm.
So we had to get to know each other again because every day I'm at work. I left the house 5:50 and I didn't come back until like 6, 7 o'clock at night, sometimes 10 o'clock if we had a game and I'm admin on duty or field trips. I'm on all of them, right? Multiple days across different states. On the phone constantly with parents, with students, with teachers. I love all of you teachers, but every time y'all call out, it's hard. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's hard. And it's a lot of stress. And I realized I
So,
was like mean at home and I had to like become nice. I had to figure out what that was like.
that's
So,
I love that because, and I'm gonna keep saying it back because I know people are gonna listen to this and they're gonna sit and they're gonna say, hmm,
mhm,
because they're on the fence. And I want everybody to understand what I do is
mhm,
about, for, and of education.
mhm.
So we're going to bring you the truth of all of the aspects.
Come
So
on.
this month we're focusing on transitioning teachers. That can mean anything, but I wanted to bring real people on who were transitioning teachers. I'm not one. I am in the process.
Hmm.
But you said something that was important, and I was talking to a colleague the other day, and she's a mom. She's a 2-year-old, and we were talking about the process of sitting in the car. And
Yes.
so I said, my mom was a school teacher for years.
Uh-huh.
And she would sit in the car before she would come home. She taught first grade. There was 3 of us there.
Hmm.
And we know we'd be peeking out the door. We're like,
Coming
who's
in.
she talking to? Because this was a cell phone. She's singing. And I was like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I'm an auntie.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the nanny. Okay, so I got my sister's kids, my brother-in-law's kids, and taking care of them, and I'm working, and they're working. But again, I have the kids, most of the time because they're working and they're in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized the power of sitting in the car to decompress. So the children, the other people's children that I have raised all day, are not connected to me in any way.
Right.
You done made me mad. I done cussed you out in my head, underneath my breath. I done said some stuff that maybe I need to talk to the Lord about.
That's right.
Your mama done called me out and had to be professional, even though I'm really not. I'm country.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to maintain all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is still right here, sitting on my chest.
Right.
And so before my mother would come in the house, she has to take all of that off and switch. Because even like my ex-husband would tell me, I'm telling you, like, yeah, when you come home, watch your tone. Watch your tone with me. I'm a grown man. And I would be like,
what are you talking about?
But then I caught myself one day because I'm giving him some directions.
Yeah.
But I hear it.
Mm-hmm. You gave me those explicit what to do directions.
And you're not a sixth grader. You're not a sixth grader. You a grown man.
Oh, I understand.
You a grown man.
I understand.
And so I said, oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're talking about. Okay, so network is our first tip.
So really, okay, so the order I had them in was like, know your why. Like, why do you want to transition into this new role? And so being very clear with that, do you like the title? Do you like the salary? Do you want to make a difference? Are you clear on like the impact that you want to make? So just like knowing your why you want to transition to whatever role it is, with either in your building, in a district, or even to a completely different career field, right? And so for me, then transitioning from school building, it was really a tough decision for me to transition from principal because and I'm gonna be completely honest, there is a prestige and an automatic knowing when you say principal.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
everybody knows exactly what that is, and there's a level of respect, like, oh, you're the principal, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to let that go. And it's like your ego has to move out the way. And so I had to like choose my kids because they're entering like this whole middle school, preteen, teenage.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
And I got to help them through that. I help everybody else's kids these last 20 years. I got to help mine. And daddy, they love daddy, but daddy ain't mommy. He's not me. And there are things that I pay attention to and I know and can grow them through that he can't. And so I decided I'm going to take a step back. Also, education has changed.
Ooh, girl, because you said 20 years, so we know.
Yeah, education.
We know. We came in the 1900s, like I tell my kids. I started in the 1900s. I started teaching before your parents knew each other.
Right. With those green attendance book, you get a key for your room and a pack of chalk. Not even whiteboard markers, chalk.
Chalk. And then you had to dust them. That's when I realized I had allergies. Dusting them erasers. What is it? What's going on? But, and I was telling somebody the other day, and I saw it on Twitter a long time ago, and I realized that's what my family had done. Where my mom and my godmothers and my aunt, shout out to my family, who I come from a family of educators. My first year teaching in Sussex County, Virginia, Annie B. Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Third grade, because they would not give new teachers kindergarten, first, or second grade.
They need to bring that back.
Mm-hmm. They were like, no, ma'am, you go get this third grade class. Mm-hmm. And they came and they brought borders, supplies. My mom came and did my room. Like, my cousin Keisha, when I moved to middle school, I was trying to get married Labor Day weekend in Virginia when school opened up. I was in love, baby. I was in love. So my cousin Keisha takes train, I think, or the plane down, and she does my room. She was also a math educator now. She's in the New York Department of Ed. So I grew up with family members coming in and go, okay, girl, we're going to get you together. And I love how you said that. Like, we need to bring that back. I don't know whether we need to do. We do. I feel like if y'all could do a gender reveal party and then you still want me to come to the baby shower, You can do a new teacher party and somebody come in here that help them decorate this and bring them some borders and some paper and some pencils.
Yeah,
We're gonna do that this year.
that's a good idea.
You and me, we're gonna do that this year.
Good idea. I
I
love
love
it. I
that.
love it. Like go around surprising different teachers.
Yes. Nominate a new
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah.
And then go surprise. Oh, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about don't be checking our idea either till we get her straight and y'all can do it in your city.
We
But you
got
wait. You got this. Okay, we're gonna get ready to wrap up. What's your third
Yes.
tip
So
for
first, know
transitioning?
your why. The second was start now. And so I say that because for me, being able to move into Dean of Students role is because when I was a teacher, I was taking on ways to like lead detention. I would be the one calling families. I would organize the field trips, or be one of the leads. Rallying students, getting them to point A, point. Like I did all those things as a teacher. So then, when it was time to do some of those things in the role of dean of students, I was familiar. When I was dean of academics, like really starting to learn how to do data, how to have like data meetings and things like that, giving feedback in classrooms, and then making reports and presentations for my principal. I had to do that as a principal as well. So it's like, know what those next roles require and start doing them now. You're not going to be paid for it. You're not going to have a title for it, but start now, because when those roles become available or when people are just watching you do it, your name is on their mind when they are then having the conversations behind closed doors about who could we possibly move, or who do we want to apply, or who can we recommend for A, B, or C.
Yes. And then teacher leader. So you were being a teacher leader. You were being a teacher leader, then moving up to dean, which I loved being a dean. Like I know people be like, really, Benita? Loved it. It was something about it like I don't know, it was like a hybrid. I was doing a culture, climate, and a little bit of discipline. Actually did a lot more discipline, but it was a K through 8. So I hadn't been in elementary in a minute. I had been in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So when you call me on the walk-in, tell me the kindergartner tore the club up, I'm like, who kindergartner? The little babies that. But when I get down there and see the club tore up,
Yeah,
and then you look, did you just cuss at me?
they can get down. I had to learn that. I've always been middle in high school, but when I started my network role, I started seeing the little babies. I was like, oh, y'all are so cute. They give you hugs until they're not.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then it was interesting because the little girl, I promise you, looked like me, like down to the locks. I was like,
A little mini me.
come on with me. Look at this. And then we formed a friendship, and I had to check in on her. And if I was out, I would have to let her know, look, tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment, or tomorrow I'm going to not be here because I have to do X, Y, and Z.
You're checking in with a first grader.
So
But they'll hold
she
you
coming, we're going to have lunch together. Girl, no, you only come to me because you messing up. I'm not a reward woman. I'm the one you don't want to see come in the room. And she's like, no, just, okay, I'm gonna come play in whatever station you play in the morning. I'm gonna come for 30 minutes. We're gonna set the alarm.
Right.
Because then I gotta go check on the other kids. Oh my goodness, you gotta come on the podcast. But okay,
Yeah.
we're on tips and tools, so we gotta hurry up. Okay.
So yes, know your why. Second, start now. And third is to network. It's so important to get to know other people, whether it be in your building, other departments, other administrators, not just the ones that observe you. And then get to know like the different positions within either your network or your district. So you can just have a better idea of how you want to navigate your educational career, because it can really be a lifelong career.
I don't want to do that. This is just second half. I don't want to do that. I'm done. I'm tired of education. And my friends were laughing at me the other day because they were like, "You watch Mo Food Network. you need to go to culinary school." Well, what if I want to do a complete transition like you did? So you transition and then you transition out. Where do I just give me one? Like where? And I guess it would go back to no. What if I don't know? I don't know.
Yeah, I did not transition into this haphazardly. because I still have one foot in education. I'm
Yeah.
a consultant with Stand Up. So I still love education, but I needed more time for them because my husband is always traveling. So I have to be, where my kids need me to be. But I started again, start now. I started baking back in 2015. And so just kind of like on the side, a little bit here and there, and people would always encourage me. So I took something that I'm interested and passionate in and saw I was making money from that.
Yes.
Um, I love the passion, but I still got bills. And so that was something I decided to explore more. And so when I'm doing it in a way that just kind of works for me, so I love doing the farmers markets or different festivals. I'm doing one this Saturday, a music festival down at Hanley Park. Next Sunday, I'm doing the Cynthia Daniels Arts and Wine Festival. I'll be at the Craft Festival in that Feast and Graves that they put on. So like
Yes. Yes.
there's that networking, right? Finding those opportunities. And my why is because I want to spend more time with my kids, but also enjoy what I'm doing, right? And I started almost 10 years ago
Oh my,
and got better at it, as time went on. So,
I love
yeah.
it. Thank you, first of all, for taking time out because I know you are that mom.
Girl,
Like that's who you are. You are that wife. Just
girl.
speaking with your husband and just I was like, no, I just follow him online, but just listening to him and speaking to him about you, I was like, I need to meet. We still haven't met in person. This is as
I
person as
know.
we've gotten. But
Yeah.
we're gonna do a brunch. We're gonna do brunch
Okay.
together. But transitioning teachers, thank you so much for coming on. When he was telling me your story, I was like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to leave the classroom. So we're gonna talk again offline. Look,
Mhm.
Memphis. I want you to shout out both of your professions and both of your jobs so we can follow you on Instagram. Not just here in Memphis, but internationally. So tell us the first Instagram you want us to follow.
Buttermilk Babes 901. That is my baking business that I have. And then my second one is Coach CMB underscore 901. And I started that one because I want to provide resources or tips, but especially to highlight what's happening in education, what's happening with kids, and just give helpful tips for families and communities for how to engage their students.
Love it. I'll just put both of them in there. You guys follow, engage, hire. I'm going to do this for myself. Look, I'm a transitioning teacher. I'm coming out of the traditional classroom. I've been in there 25 years, up and down the East Coast. I didn't realize that I was a turnaround specialist to somebody in D.C. Because I was like, how come they won't call me in Georgetown? She was like, girl, have you seen your resume? I said, yeah. She's like, well, look at how it reads.
Wow.
I'm a transitioning teacher. I love working with new teachers,
Hmm.
mentor teachers. So anybody out there, I need a job.
Hmm.
And I am like you. I had never heard of Memphis. Came out here for a job
Hmm.
in education. In that job now, in a charter school now here in Memphis, and it has grown on me because I came from Miami,
Oh, wow. That's
way of overseas, way of Virginia.
okay.
So
Okay. Yep. We're gonna
okay,
talk.
we're gonna talk. But thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Tips and Tools family. I have another guest on Thursday, but we're not gonna take it till you join us. We're gonna play this again. It's gonna be on all of the channels, social media, LinkedIn, and our YouTube channel. Connect, collaborate. But more than anything, remember that self-care is not selfish. We'll see y'all later. Thank you so much, girl.
I'm
Bye.
glad I came. Thank you.